The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
As Jesus continued his journey to Jerusalem, he traveled through Samaria and Galilee. As he was entering a village, 10 lepers met him. They stood at a distance from him and raised their voices, saying, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." And when he saw them, he said, "Go show yourselves to the priests." As they were going, they were cleansed. And one of them, realizing he had been healed, returned, glorifying God in a loud voice. And he fell at the feet of Jesus and thanked him. He was a Samaritan. Jesus said in reply, 10 were cleansed, were they not? Where are the other 9? Has none but this foreigner returned to give thanks to God? Then he said to him, "Stand up and go. Your faith has saved you." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Praise be Jesus Christ, now and forever. Praise be Jesus Christ. Good. I have more once you get that one down, don't worry. The other day I was driving to the grocery store, and it was just like a rough day, a lot of stuff happening, and it was pouring down rain, and the parking lot was packed. And so I was just praying to God, like, God, just can you open up, a space towards the door so I don't get soaked, and I'll do that. And the prayer was going on, and I saw someone pulling out of the space right at the front. And so I quickly ended my prayer, never mind, God, I found one myself, right? That's not true, but one of the struggles in this season of my life, one of those sins that I struggle with is ingratitude. I have a stack of thank you cards just sitting on my desk that need to get written, and I keep putting it off again and again. So I don't know, does anybody else struggle with gratitude? Oh, good, a lot more of you than last night. So that works out well. So this homily is for all of us, right? Gratitude. I was thinking, people have been asking me, like, after all those homilies on the Eucharist, are we going to go into something else, another series? And I was thinking, when we were talking about the Eucharist, I never actually said what the word Eucharist, right? It's a Greek word, like what it actually means, what it translates as. Anybody know what the word Eucharist means? Thanksgiving. Excellent. Whoever said that. It means thanksgiving. Literally translated, Eucharistia, it means a good offering of one's gifts, right? We just translate it thanksgiving, but it means a good offering of one's gifts. And the reason the church chose this word to describe this sacrament, right, is it not God's good offering of his gifts to us, right, his graces? But then this encounter with Jesus in the Eucharist is supposed to create within us this desire, right, to give our good gifts back to God, right? It's this dual purpose, which I think, like, genuine thanksgiving, right, true thanksgiving is really an offering of oneself, of one's gifts to the other, right? So I was thinking maybe, flowing from that, and all the readings for the next couple weeks, there's this theme of thanksgiving that runs, of gratitude, of offering of oneself back to God. And so for the next month or so, we'll transition to that kind of a theme as the homilies roll on. So to start us off, the church gives us Luke chapter 17 today, the story of the 10 lepers. And coincidentally, this is the gospel that the church gives us on Thanksgiving, on the holiday of Thanksgiving, every single year. What's interesting, when you think of Thanksgiving, right, it wasn't like just people talking to each other. It was an actual sharing of gifts, right? the natives and the pilgrims sharing those gifts that they had. So the story of the 10 lepers. And as I was praying with this gospel this week, there were two questions that most filled my prayer that I want to work with today. So the first question is, what does it take to be with Jesus in the end? The second question is, what's so special about this leper, this 10th leper? Right? So the first question, what does it take to be with Jesus at the end? Right? Because only one leper was with Jesus at the very end. So the story goes, Jesus is coming to this town, and there's these 10 lepers. And if you know anything about kind of the ancient culture, when you were a leper, you were excommunicated from the community, right? You were on the outskirts. And so the lepers had to stay something like 50 yards away from the community at all times. And this is why they're all screaming at Jesus, right? They're probably far, far away yelling, "Jesus, have pity on us," right? And, it doesn't say if Jesus yells back at them or if he goes to them. My guess is he goes to them because that's what he seems to do all the other times, right? He always goes to the outcast. And so all 10 of these lepers, they get to have this really cool encounter with Jesus, right? He meets them all. And then he gives them a command: go show yourselves to the priest, right? And they all run off. And it's as they're on their way that they're healed, right? So one returns, but the other 9 keep going. And I propose these 9 that they're not bad guys. In fact, they're probably doing exactly what Jesus asked them to do, right? Jesus said, go show yourselves to the priest. So these 9 likely are going to show themselves to the priest, because it was the priest who could then declare them clean so they could enter back into community, right? But this one, when he realizes God has given him this good gift, well, this desire wells up within him to come back and to offer himself back as a gift, right? So it says he comes back and he falls at the feet of Jesus, right, which is a sign of my offering myself to the other, right? When you fall at the feet of somebody, you're giving of yourself back to that person, right? So what does it take to be with Jesus in the very end? It takes within us this desire, this willingness to offer what good gifts we have back, right? To offer ourselves back. That gratitude, that thanksgiving. That gratitude is necessary to be with Jesus in the long run, right? And so the second question that I then sat with was, what makes this leper so special? Because I was thinking about it, the leper was given the gift of good health. And I have been given the gift of good health. And yet this leper was super grateful to God. And me, I can't even remember the last time I thanked God for my health, right? I was like, why is this, right? And I was thinking back to this one dictum of Aristotle. Aristotle, in his philosophy of gratitude, he has this insight into human nature. And he says, those who have little, even if given little, will have great gratitude for it. Those who have much, even if given much, will likely have little gratitude. Right? Just as an example, put that into flesh. Over the last couple of weeks at the parish, we've gotten a lot of phone calls and requests for help. A lot of people are struggling to be able to pay rent, right? And so as part of our tithe, the tithe that the parish does is we have some money set aside to help shelter the would-be homeless, right? And so we can write a check to somebody to help them pay their rent so they have a home for the next month, right? So you can imagine we write a check for $200 to somebody, and they have great gratitude for it. We could write a check for 10 times that amount, $2,000, send it off to Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates or somebody. And most likely, they wouldn't be that grateful for it, right? Those who have little, even if given little, possess great gratitude. Those who have much, even if given much, possess little gratitude. And in my own life, what's the difference between the leper and myself is I kind of, I have so much health that I exercise, I eat right. Like I kind of like claim it for myself, and I forget that all is gift from God, right? And so I have such little gratitude for it because I think like I possess it, right? And I forget, no, all is gift, right? So it's not that those who have a lot can't be super grateful. We just have to always beware of that great temptation, right? To not be grateful, to think that we own everything and it's not all gift from God, because all is gift. All is gift. So those are my two great lessons from this gospel, right? First, to be with Jesus requires this gratitude, this desire to offer one's gifts back to God. And then two is that great temptation that those who have much are often tempted not to offer much, right? Because we own it too much. And so it's always something we have to be aware of. And so we just pray as we receive the Eucharist, right, God's good gift to us in this Eucharist, that we would desire to give back to God, to give to others, all those good gifts that he has entrusted to us today.